Happy New Year, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of the Flatworld. This is episode 97, so sit back, relax, and enjoy. Today, we are back, and I have done a bunch of dirt outlines, as you can see. Looks pretty cool, no? So yeah, I was streaming the other day, and I went over the quote-unquote 5-year plan that I have for this world. And so, yeah, let's talk about it. So yeah, as I said, I've been calling this the 5-year plan for the Flatworld, and really, I don't know how long it'll actually take, but it's a long project, so that's just sort of my nickname for it. But, so, as you can see, we've laid out basically how I want this whole part of the base to go, right? So, Salacia is currently just a floating cube of water, and we're going to embark on a massive terraforming project to basically turn it into a bay, and then have a giant glass wall going across the front face of the bay, acting as a sort of dam for Salacia. And then we can have a little platform or walkway going across the top of the glass wall here, so that you can walk from one end to the other. I'm thinking right here we could have some sort of big tower that allows some of the water to then pour out into this lower part, like a dam. We've got mountains, of course, and then a massive sort of dock area that I've sketched out here. So this would sort of extend the fishing village, and we can have much bigger ships sort of docked in this area here. So yeah, we'll extend Withering Heights, extend the mountain range out, and I'm even thinking around the bay here to have 1 or 2 more peaks sort of behind. They would probably be the tallest peaks in the entire world here. Yeah, it's a massive, massive project. But sort of the whole point of this is I want to slowly clean up this whole base and make it all look beautiful, right? Several episodes ago, this was just a big floating square of grass, and now it's a whole base connected down into the ocean by this massive wall we built up. So that's an example. Salacia is a cube of water, so hopefully in a few episodes, we can turn it into something that looks more naturalistic. So that's the plan with this part of the map. Now, some other plans we have. Well, first of all, I finished all of the upgrading to this main part of the castle here. So that's all done. And I've also ripped out this inner wall on these 4 quadrants here. I really didn't like the way that they looked. I actually have to finish off this one side here. But then it'll be done. Yeah, I couldn't figure out what to do with them, but I decided we still might be able to spruce up this outermost wall and sort of do similar to what we did with this main castle base here and just sort of spruce it up a little. So I'm not going to tear down this outermost wall. I'm going to sort of use it as a, castle city wall, and hopefully we can spruce it up a little bit, make it look a little nicer. Oh no! My elytra broke! So once we finish improving this outer wall of the city, we can then have this entire circle to build more buildings and more city structures and just make it look really nice. Now, another thing we're gonna have to do is turn each of these bridges going out into actual, thick bridges with supports and archways and pillars. So that's another project we gotta work on. Over here by the mob farm, I would like to perhaps encase it with a big glass pixel art or something like that. Anything to sort of make it look a little nicer and just a little bit more hidden. I don't want to harm the functionality of the farm, so we can't hide it with anything that would decrease the spawn rates. But I'm thinking if we just did a massive glass pixel art on each side, and then sort of case it in with some concrete or something like that, that might look sort of cool. So yeah, we'll just have to see. But I'm not too concerned with how this looks. I just want to dress it up a little bit. And last but not least is the spider farm over here. We've added this little circle of dirt, and so my idea is to have sort of a Castle Gardens-esque courtyard leading up to the spider farm, and then encase this farm in a big cathedral, church-style building, and sort of have that sitting on top of this extended dirt platform. And we can just take the wall that we've already constructed and build that up and have it wrap all the way around this circle so that this will all be sort of hidden underground. So let's just review everything we just said real quick. We're going to build a giant bay that wraps around Salacia. We're going to build a big mountain range that connects Withering Heights to the bay. We're going to build a massive dock area down here to extend our fishing village. We're going to build supports and structure for each of these bridges. We're going to hide the cathedral in we're gonna hide the spider farm in a little cathedral. We're going to hide the mob farm with some glass pixel art or something along those lines. And eventually we're gonna build some sort of massive structure on top of the main castle here. And and then the rest of this space will all just be filled in with city. Yeah, so these red outlines here sort of give you an idea of the scale of the buildings that will go into these platforms. So the other thing I made a lot of progress on since last episode is terraforming the seafloor of Salacia. I got a lot of the sand in there, and it's starting to look really, really nice. So I think that's what I mostly want to work on for the beginning of this episode is some of the terraforming of this bay, as well as working on this glass retaining wall. We have to farm up a ton of glass. It's over half a stack for each, what am I trying to say here? Each column of this glass wall. So many stacks of glass are gonna have to go into this. So in order to get all that glass, we're gonna have to do a lot of villager trading, and my villager trader system has been in a state of disrepair for some time. I sort of let all of the villagers die, and the breeder wasn't working for a while. Luckily, the breeder is now working again, so we've got a steady supply of villagers, but we now have to work on getting back all of the good villagers we had because, yeah, most of them either got converted or killed at some point. So I'm gonna spend a little bit of time here revamping this this villager system, hopefully getting some good villagers back in here, and then hopefully we can get enough glass to build up that retaining wall this episode. That would be awesome. As you saw in that time lapse there, I grinded out this little port area here. This is sort of the extension to our little fishing village, and we're gonna build maybe some fancier houses over here. So I'm looking forward to that. But before we do that, I really wanna flesh out this little bit of the mountain here and start terraforming a little bit of that, just so we sort of know what it's gonna look like and how the buildings are gonna nestle in there. So I think that's what we're gonna do next. But I also went ahead and grinded out all the glass for this big retaining wall. And it actually didn't take nearly as long as I thought it would. I kind of forgot, once you get going with the villagers, you can get a lot of stuff really fast. So, as you hopefully saw in that time lapse, we got a ton done on this mountain. I am so happy with the progress on this project so far. It is looking so sick. Believe it or not, all the dirt for this mountain has basically just been coming from the bottom of this harbor. You wouldn't believe how much 3 layers of dirt how far that goes when you spread it out into only 1 layer thick like this. But yeah, let's go take a flight. You can see that I've started building up the shell, sort of the exoskeleton for the backside of the mountains here, but it's not all filled in yet. But you can see sort of my process with laying out the terrain. I'm planning out the slope of things and drawing lines and sort of trying to figure out where little cliffs can go. Anything to add a little bit of interest. Very happy with the way it's coming out so far. It's really fun to fly underneath the shell of this mountain in the dark here. It's just kind of cool. And Salacia is slowly starting to sort of become part of like a little bay. If you fly up, you can really start to imagine how it's gonna look further into this project, where, it's more gonna be part of an actual bay with a shore. Maybe we'll have like a little village going on here, some bigger mountains to sort of frame it in. And I think it's gonna look really, really beautiful when that's done. Because for the longest time, it's just been a cube of water sitting here out in the open. So I'm really happy with the progress there. I did get rid of this bridge going across. The reason being that I was thinking about it, and having pillars going down to support this bridge would just be such an inconvenience for the larger boats coming into this harbor. It just didn't make so much sense. So I think we're gonna have this pathway just sort of turn, go down, and that'll be how you get down to this tier of the city. And then this bridge over here will probably connect up to this landmass behind the statue somehow. So yeah, lots of progress made there. And then if you notice over here, we've got this sort of medieval looking dam runoff system. This is to sort of just make things a little more realistic. So we've got this, big glass retaining wall. Obviously, that's not the most realistic thing in the world, but I didn't want to sacrifice the view of Salacia from this angle. I think it's really, really cool. It's like one giant aquarium almost. But yeah, there has to be some way to control the water levels or something like that so that when it rains, the water can run off into the harbor. And so that's what this is for. I designed this in creative mode and sort of just grinded it out, built it all in one day. It was a lot of fun. We've got sand on the shores, which I think is starting to look really cool. We're not going to do sand for the entire lake bed, harbor bed, however you want to call it, but I think we're going to do a mix of sand among other things. Like, we might even mix in this bedrock texture, but with stone slabs and andesite slabs, maybe even black stone slabs, just to create more textures going on in the lake bed. There's still a ton of work to do, but I feel like I've been making some crazy, crazy progress, and hopefully you guys are enjoying how it's coming out. So one of my very favorite things to do when I've just done a ton of work in the game is to go ahead and update the map. So let's go do that. Wow. Now that is pretty insane. That is pretty insane to look at. That's a big progress update. It's looking so awesome. I can only imagine how cool it'll look when all those different buildings actually exist and all the roof lines start coming in like you're seeing over here. It's gonna look amazing. Looking at this map, this is kind of bugging me. This right here. Why don't we go fix that real quick? Aha! Here's the culprit. Let's just cover that right up. That should do it. That should do it. See you later, slimes. The Great Slime Tsunami of 2021. I'm gonna be honest, guys. I've been having so many problems with figuring out my recording this episode. Lately, my usual software that I use for recording has just not been doing it for me. There's been all sorts of black frames and stuff I have to edit out in post. And so I'm trying to figure out how to use OBS, but that seems not to be working very well either for me. So I just got to figure this out. It might be a little while before I can do episodes consistently again. I might just need to upgrade my computer. It's getting real old at this point. So I don't know. Maybe that's it. I was just kind of working on this little house here, and I recorded a little thing about it, but the footage wasn't really usable. So I'll try to fly over there and give you guys a little look at it right now. As you can see, we went for the green wool on the roof. I wanted to use green terracotta, but I didn't really have any, so we went with the green wool, and we've got a little bit of mossy cobble and dirt and pods all mixed in just to give it a little bit of a overgrown look to it, like moss growing on a roof. It's not done yet, obviously. The whole front face of this building still needs to get done, but we've got this little porch here, or deck overhanging the side of this cliff, which I think looks really cool, and we use the lecterns to accomplish that. And we've got a little awning on this side of the building with the fireplaces, so things are really looking cool. So far, nothing inside. I was just laying out basically the architectural style. I really want to explore a whole bunch of different styles throughout the city, blending them together in a smooth way. And so this area of the fishing village is supposed to be a little bit more lower income, more like huts, mixed in, and just more of a shanty look to it. So different colored roofs and just more of a mishmash of styles. But as we move into this more built up part of the harbor here, I'm thinking that it will be better to have it more medieval more built up a little bit. And then as we move into the hills here, I was thinking we can have a few houses here and there nestled in. And here's an example where I want to kind of go for like an earth tone and a really earthy feel, almost like Hobbit homes sitting within nature. And we're going to have a whole bunch of custom trees covering this hill as well. In fact, we might do a couple of those and then wrap up the episode. But you can see here, I've laid out a little path with these path blocks of how you're going to walk out the front door of this house and be able to climb up this hill and up to here and then around. And then at some point, we'll have some sort of way down over here. And perhaps it will even connect to a couple more houses up on these sort of shelves and maybe connect to a house down here. There's lots of stuff that people coming into the ships in the harbor would need. A pub, a hotel, just a place to get a horse to ride around town. So we're going to have to build a few things over here. And then other projects that we can start thinking about working on in upcoming episodes are little bee farm somewhere over here, so some sort of building that is used for farming honey. And we also need to get all sorts of terracotta. As I said, I wanted to do green terracotta for the roof over there, but I didn't have any. So we need to find villagers that have that, and we can put those villagers maybe over here, have like a little stone area built near the mountain and that can be sort of mining themed. So you sort of get what I'm saying here. The fishing themed stuff goes down here. The bee themed stuff will be here in the nature area, and some mining themed stuff near the mountain. I think it's all gonna start coming together really nicely. This is just such a cool little scene. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. It looks so dope. I put in some trees and plants, added some more bushes, bone mealed it up a little, just added a couple vines here and there, touched everything up, just gave it a little TLC, a little tender love and care, and it just, oh man, it starts to look so good so quickly. Can you just imagine when this whole hill is covered with trees, and we've got little buildings here and there poking in and out of the hill? It's just it's gonna look so magical around here. I'm so pumped for this project because we've been staging it and setting it up and getting ready for so long, and now it's just getting to the point where we have a blank canvas that we could just build upon to our heart's content, which is going to be really, really fun. But yeah, I think I'm going to wrap it there for the episode, guys. I put a lot of work into this episode, so if you would throw a like on it, that would mean a whole lot to me. If you're not already subscribed, make sure to do so and check out the rest of this series because we've got really cool stuff coming down the pipes. But yeah, thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Like I said, I put a lot of work into this one, so I'm sorry if it's a little bit shorter than you're used to, but I feel very great about all the progress we made on this. So I hope you have a great rest of your day, and yeah, have a great life.